Welcome to Wasatch Weekends. Happy Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'm Gretchen Pleshaw, your studio host. I am very excited today. We are talking all things wealth strategy, consumer electronics show. We got a chance to talk to someone on the floor there, as well as winter tips and the local weather. So stay here because we have more of the show to come. Welcome back to the show. Now, Kim got a chance to talk to an expert all about wealth strategy. Let's take a look.
Now, this conversation is a conversation that should be had often and always. How to build financial security for you and your family. Joining me today is wealth strategist, entrepreneur, and much more, Chris Manutius. How are you, Chris?
Kim, good to see you.
Great to see you as well. So this is such an important conversation. And, you know, I know you're so knowledgeable in the area of building wealth for your family, for generations to come. And talk to us a little bit more about what wealth strategy looks like.
Well, I mean, fundamentally, I think a lot of people have been let down by Wall Street. The typical prescription for most people is put your funds in a 401k or in the stock market, cross your fingers and hope and pray you'll have enough for retirement. And I think that's disappointed a lot of people. So I'm on a mission here just to educate people on what their options are. I feel like if people just knew what alternatives they have for them to safely grow their money, they would make, different decisions or have better vehicles to have a more abundant retirement.
It's true, and it's a conversation that isn't had enough. So talk to me about one of the methods that you recommend to people. Life insurance is a big piece of it. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, a lot of people don't know that there's actually safe havens for finances within insurance vehicles. They think it's just all about the market, but the market goes up, it goes down. It can take you sometimes a decade to recoup losses in the market. With insurance vehicles, if you go through someone licensed like myself, you can get into what are called indexed accounts. That means when you get a gain, it's credited, it's locked in, you're not going to lose it again. And where you can get those are typically in permanent life insurance, like IULs that I help clients with, and annuities, fixed index annuities. Those are basically self-funded pensions that allow people to create their own pension. We used to be the land of corporate pensions, but sadly, those don't really exist anymore. Not so frequently. So I actually educate people on how to fund their own pension so that they can grow their money safely and predictably and have a retirement income that they'll never outlive.
It's so true. Now, talking about life insurance, you can actually use it to your advantage while you're still alive. Can you give us a little more insight around that?
100%. So with permanent life insurance, and a lot of people don't know this, it's actually the only vehicle in the IRS tax code that allows you to grow money tax-free. It allows you to access it while you're alive tax-free and pass it on tax-free. Now, how can you do this? Well, when you take loans from your policies, loans are not taxable according to the IRS. So there's a lot of creative ways you can use life insurance that the wealthy have been using for generations in ways that can really help your family get ahead.
And it's so true, instead of relying on, as you mentioned, the traditional means of the 9-to-5 paycheck and the 401k and the pension, this is a great way to do that. So where would you recommend people go to either have a conversation with you or to find more information about how to better educate yourself on building generational wealth?
Yeah, I'd recommend going to my Instagram page. It's Chris, the Wealth Strategist. I put out a ton of free conceptual training on life insurance, on financial concepts, and people can actually book in with me directly if they want more information. But I definitely recommend going there. I put out, 3 to 5 videos per week, just educating people on their options.
That's true. Now, you're an entrepreneur as well. And what made you become passionate about this subject to educate others and to grow their wealth?
Well, in 2020, I actually started investing in permanent life insurance whole life. And I shouldn't say investing because it's not technically an investment, but I didn't really know what my options were uh, other than that. And I didn't even really know about IULs. And the more I researched it, the more I realized there's actually an abundance of options available to people. And so, I had been in sales working for a couple different consulting companies, and I just really wanted to kind of go out on my own again and do something that I was passionate about personally and be able to help educate people on what their options are, because that just brings me a lot of fulfillment, just teaching people what's available to them and helping them improve their situation for not only themselves, but for their family and for generations of their family.
It's true. And in regard to income, outside of the 9 to 5, there are other options as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah, actually, like if, we have, if life insurance agents can do pretty well, we have plenty of part-timers making, 2 to 5,000 per month around their current employment. So it's actually a often overlooked way to bring in additional income. We have people who just get some policies for themselves. They help some family and friends. So it can be a great supplemental income source for people. And if you want to run with it, you can actually build a substantial business of your own. And people don't know this, but actually hedge funds buy insurance businesses and other wealthy agents buy insurance businesses. So it can actually blossom into quite a valuable asset. So.
Sounds like an untapped market, and definitely one that we should be talking about more frequently on the mainstream conversation. So Chris, one more time, where can we go to follow you on the social media? Where can we go from a website perspective? Share all of the details.
Yeah, the best place is I'm on TikTok and Instagram. So Instagram, Chris the Wealth Strategist, and then TikTok, Chris the Wealth Strategist. Instagram, I would say first and foremost, and then my links in the bio and everything like that. So those are definitely the best places to go to learn more.
And before we go, do you have one quick tip of the day that you can give our viewers? I'm gonna put you on the spot there.
Stay open-minded. Finances they're a very polarizing topic. There's going to be people who are diehard about the market and people who are diehard about insurance. Just do your research. I mean, there's no perfect vehicle. Insurance is not perfect. The market isn't perfect. It's all about just creating a plan that works for you and looking at all your options. So just stay open-minded.
Awesome. Well, Chris, we appreciate you. You're very knowledgeable, and it sounds like you have a lot of information to share with people to build financial security for their families and beyond. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Now stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Wasatch Weekend. Now, Ross got to talk to a very interesting human being that is on the floor of the Consumer Electronics Show. Let's take a look.
Welcome back in, guys. We are joined now via Zoom by James Bell, who is the head of corporate communications with Kia America. Welcome, James.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
How's it going out there?
A little bit cold.
A little cold
for Vegas. We're in the desert. You always think it's going to be nice and comfortable, but it's cold this morning. But for you to talk about cars in the future, I'll do anything.
Yes, love that, love that. So speaking about the future, what is Kia doing with these kind of building a house as its CSE presentation?
Yeah, as you can see over my shoulder here, yes, we have, because this is CES, we wanted to say to the world, here's where there's a future that maybe you hadn't considered. And it all connects back to what Kia is doing in the electrified automotive space. We're really big into that. We've got two of the most award-winning electric vehicles on the marketplace now. What we wanted to say was where a lot of American families are now starting to consider an electric vehicle for their personal transportation, the idea of just coming home and charging it and then going about your day's drive is going to feel old. Again, this is CES, so let's talk about the future. And the future is what's called bidirectional charging. So essentially, you come home, you charge you plug your car into your house, and then the house obviously is connected to the grid, and your utility company. So now that you can have this two-way communication going on. So let's say there's a little power outage overnight. You've got family coming the next day. You've got things in the fridge that are perishable. If there is a power out, your utility company will notify your house. Your house then will notify your car. Your car will then provide electricity back into your house to keep your refrigerator going, your freezer going, your lights on, a TV or two. You have to be more efficient, obviously. You can't run everything off the battery power in your car. But again, it's this two-way street where you can charge at the rates that are the cheapest. You can get paid to put electricity back into the grid when needed, and make sure that your home is as efficient and as comfortable as can be. So it's kind of a new way of thinking about something which is already new to a lot of people, which is obviously electrification. And
Yeah.
Kia is very, very ahead of the curve on that.
That's amazing, James. So can an electric car really power a house?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, we've already have lots of examples of that when there's been storms, and you need only certain EVs, with Kia being one of them, can do this two-way electricity exchange, if you will. So yeah, absolutely. As I said earlier, you can't run every television in the house and turn the air conditioning way down low. You have to be more efficient, but you can set it up to make sure that the important things are there, like your refrigerator, like lights to make sure the family can see. But yes, definitely, electric car is really nothing more than a battery with 4 wheels. So this is a way of using that electricity as efficiently and economically as possible.
Yeah, it's amazing, amazing. And then, so you mentioned like a storm, you might want to use this. What are some other instances when you might want to kind of power your home with your car?
Well, I mean, let's talk about like the idea of tailgating. So you're having people over, you're going to be doing something in the backyard. You can use your car to run the TV, to run the sound system, to run lights, to keep the beer fridge ready to go. So that'd be another instance. Maybe going camping. You can use the power in your electric vehicle to fill up the air mattresses and maybe to do some entertainment for the kids. So there's lots of different ways that we want people to think not only about getting an electric car to be efficient for getting themselves to and from locations, but using that electricity in a whole new way of thinking. And again, this being CES, this is where the future kind of comes together, and Kia is pretty proud to give you this glimpse.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And where can people go for more information?
Well, that's pretty simple. Please go to kia.com. And in fact, later today, we're going to be posting all sorts of videos and photos from everything we're doing here at CES. And so again, kia.com is going to have all the information you might wonder about.
Awesome, kia.com. And what, do people need anything special, or how do people with electric cars get in on this?
Well, it's first off, you need to make sure your car is bidirectional, and again, all Kias are. So there's that first part, and then the idea of having your car and your home and your your utility company work together. We're still probably about a year out from that. We at Kia are kind of driving it forward, if you will, but we're just waiting for the utility companies to catch up.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning, James. It's pretty innovative and amazing to see what Kia is doing out there. Enjoy the warm weather for us.
Welcome back to the show. Now with winter here and in full effect, Kim got a chance to talk to someone about some winter tips. Let's check it out.
Welcome back to the show. Now, I am so excited because this is a very important conversation to be had. Joining me today is the CEO of Dry Sea, but we are talking all things about how to be winter prepared and really weather prepared in your vehicle. Brad, how are you this morning?
Oh, lovely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you are an expert in all things safety. You have a very extensive background in cybersecurity and other things, and now you're with Dry Sea, but you're here to talk about weather-related car preparedness. So talk to me a little bit about that, and how can we best be prepared, especially for us here in Colorado as we are in the thick of our winter months?
Yes, well, as the snow and ice come, be prepared. Have those snow or ice chains on your tires. Always check the air pressure to make sure you've got adequate air in your tires, and tread. Make sure the tread is good and not worn too low. The CDC says that 48% of Americans don't have a first aid kit in their home, and that number is higher in their cars. So have that first aid kit in your automobile and have it accessible, not in the trunk.
Very important. I think having a first aid kit in your car is vital to survival, and people don't think about that often. So talk to me a little bit about what we should have inside of our first aid kits.
Sure. Bandages, dressings, antiseptics, alcohol wipes, some pain medication, Aleve or aspirin, etc. And make sure you've got plenty of cold weather gear, extra coats, mittens, hats, etc., especially for our elders and our young folks.
And well, according to the Federal Highway Administration, we have about 5.9 million car crashes in the U.S. per year, and 21% of those are related to weather. So, do you have any advice on how to try to avoid accidents or be better prepared if you do happen to get into a weather-related accident or stranded situation?
Well, right, especially in the mountains and the hills. If you're in an auto accident, you slip off the road down a ravine or a hill. Have an emergency whistle in your automobile too. That way, if you're in an accident, you slip down the hill, you can blow that whistle and notify emergency personnel. In addition to that, in case you have problems with your automobile or battery, uh, have that portable phone charger charged and ready to go too in the event you're in an accident.
I think the portable phone charger is a great suggestion. I think all too often we would just rely on that cord that plugs into our car to charge our phone at all times. So do you have any tips on how we can, check our vehicles or prepare them for winter conditions ahead of time?
Well, yeah, we mentioned chains, excuse me, and have those tires in tip-top shape. Check your antifreeze and coolant. That's obviously extremely important. And just overall maintenance. If you have to take a trip and it's snowing or icy, be prepared. Don't be overconfident. So many of us are overconfident driving in inclement weather. And be safe. And frankly, don't drive or travel if you don't have to, if the weather is inclement or poor.
I think that's probably the best tip is to stay home if the weather is not great, especially if you're not used to driving in that. Now, Brad, talk to me about dry sea. What do you advise in regard to keeping some of your products in our first aid kits and just how to be better prepared?
Well, right. Dry sea is the world's only liquid indicating waterproof bandage or dressing. Typically, waterproof bandages fail, and waterproof bandages look exactly the same, wet, dry, and saturated. So we're Dry Sea, and you can find us at Amazon or at drysea.com. Because if there's intrusion by liquid, ice, snow into the bandage or dressing or wound area, Dry Sea changes color. So you know when to change your bandage and dressing, and that certainly promotes wound healing.
I think the technology, because it locks everything in, it can also prevent from any sort of infection. And I think you might as well throw some dry sea bandages into your first aid kit because most first aid kits that you just get off of Amazon don't have them. So where can we go for more information, Brad, to be better prepared and just to really learn how to best prepare ourselves?
Right. Well, do some research. Check with your local news station on weather conditions. NTSB.gov can give you preparedness information on how to avoid accidents or injury, whether it's automobile, airplane, or otherwise. And your local transportation agency in the state of Colorado. Check those websites for information, weather updates, and overall safety ahead of making any significant travel or trips.
I think it's great. And definitely if you plan on traveling in the winter season, learn how to defensively drive. I've been watching way too many videos on the internet of cars just sliding down hills and crashing into each other.
Right, right. Yeah, we all seem to drive a little more or too aggressively during the holiday season, so it's time to calm down, be prepared, and like you said, be defensive in your driving.
Excellent. And Brad, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for giving some advice on how to prepare your car and to prepare your first aid kits and beyond as we are navigating these winter months. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. We're here to help and enjoyed visiting with you.
you so much for spending your time here with us at Wasatch Weekends. What an awesome time we had. I learned a lot about wealth as well as winter tips. We'll see you next weekend right here for more Wasatch Weekends.